you're fucking gross.
Hey.
But do you Dogecoin?
Dogecoin? Yeah, I saw the Doge Father on Saturday Night Live.
You like how it dropped? The stock dropped as soon as he was on there.
The guy's got the control of everything. It seems of just influence, right?
You see, he actually said that he was going to stop allowing Bitcoin to be used to buy Teslas.
I didn't see that. So
he's basically creating a monopoly for Doge. Yeah, he said that he's not going to let Bitcoin be used to buy Teslas anymore because Bitcoin mining, I guess, is like bad for the environment. And that's what he's saying.
Well, it takes a lot of power for sure.
And then he's saying like Doge is going to be accepted.
Doge, dude, Doge. I don't know. It was supposed to be a meme. I saw on the 4chan when all the Reddit dudes from Wall Street Bets got banned. They ended up on 4chan, and all the 4chan bros are like, "Listen, Reddit guys, the real deal is Dogecoin. It's got the power to do something."
I mean, it does though.
I don't know what the power is.
Look at it though. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
look,
I like.
First of all, it's up. It's up. Okay. Look at it. Look at that, Zach.
What is it?
Look at Doge.
I mean, but it's only at 47. It was at like.
But like, look at
60.
it. Like what it's done.
Yeah, it's all relative, I guess, right?
But like, it's gone up just because of Elon Musk tweeting that he's gonna stop doing Bitcoin, and they're like, "Oh."
He's like, now Dogecoin is it? So I've tried to buy something with Bitcoin, and I went on. I think I went on Amazon and bought like a burn phone for like work. So I had like a separate little flip phone number.
Drug dealer.
No.
He's trying to
Oh. You know, a gentleman never tells. A gentleman never tells. So, yeah, I bought like this little phone, like a little throwaway phone.
Yeah.
And, dude, I had to. It was like counting out change, but virtually, I had to like calculate like the fees and stuff like that.
To use Bitcoin?
Yeah. So if you undercalculate the fees, you don't get the fees back, and the transaction bounced back. So you lose. Say if you spend like $30, you lose like $3. And then if you overcalculate the fees, the extra just goes to the other person. It's like, hey, excuse me, Bezos, are you going to send it back? Now, even if he wanted to send it back, he would pay more fees to send it back. So it's like, what's the point?
Wait, so you have to balance it like you would like tax deductions out of your paycheck?
Dude, it's like a whole operation. So I don't know if it's like... So that's why I look at it and it's like it's all speculation, you know?
All of it. But I mean, the U.S. dollar is tanking.
Yeah,
so crypto's going to... I mean, I'm assuming something's going to have to take its place. Either the war is going to have to happen to like balance it, or crypto's going to take its place.
Yeah, we'll have to have some sort of invasion of a Bitcoin country or something like that.
Where's Bitcoin? Where's a Bitcoin country, Justin?
Somalia, probably.
I mean,
we're gonna be like, yo, these people need some freedom and democracy or something.
Yeah. Dude, I bet you, like that's gonna be the thing to like get third world countries like up. You know what I mean? Like just
crypto.
Yeah, it could be.
You think so?
Yeah. Why not? It's gonna.
Because they're still gonna be.
It's a universal currency, but I mean, like
it is. But how are they gonna get it?
I mean, like, can't they just enter?
They got computers.
They don't got the monies though. That's why they're not first, not second, but third world.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of a second world country. Though, to be fair, right?
I thought it was
Italy.
First and third.
Italy? Oh man, we gotta trash Italy like that.
I think Italy's actually deemed a third world country now.
Really?
What?
How?
Their economy's garbage.
What are the standards?
No,
I don't even
they
know.
Can't be a third world country, bro.
Italy? Dude, have you seen? Dude, their houses go for like their houses in Italy selling for $5.
Really?
100%.
Dude, are they like 10 houses or are they like?
They're made because all the houses there are made in fucking like 1850.
Oh shit.
Dude, when I went to visit Italy when I was in 4th grade,
Yeah.
all of the houses are old as shit. All the roads are made of fucking dirt, except for like in Rome and Florence, like the main cities.
Yeah.
And then like I was going through my aunt lives in not Florence. It's like near Florence, called Potenza. And when you're walking down this gravel fucking road where cars are, cars, stray dogs, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Straight dogs.
The wall is made of stone, and there's still like the holes from when they had the war, and they were like, shooting guns through the hole. Dude.
Yeah.
It's just like they haven't renovated the country ever because they can't. It's basically Greece. It's just gonna collapse like Greece.
I wouldn't say Greece is a third world country. Their economy's pretty good, right?
Greece's economy tanked.
Yeah, they had to get a bunch of bailouts for the International Monetary Fund. And, you know, of course, that's attached with, yeah, sure, you know, just attach a bunch of your property as leverage, and we'll just kind of absorb that. So, you know, either pay the bill or we'll take over the land and stuff like that and become like a vassal state or something.
I mean, that's we as Americans do have to save these countries, though.
Yeah, they need some freedom
They
delivered.
need freedom.
And by freedom, I mean like 15,000-pound daisy cutter bombs or something like that, you know? These people haven't tasted democracy, and if they don't want it, well, you're going to get it anyway, because that's what freedom's all about, you know?
That's right.
We
You don't have the
deliver
choice
from
to freedom.
skies.
You don't have the choice to freedom. I saw on first of all, I don't know how I saw like a graph where it's like there's countries that are the most free. I don't know how I don't know how you scale that. Like, how do you measure freedom?
Yeah, who knows? Because I mean, the guy who's measuring it could, you know, he's got probably different ideas of what's free and what's not. You know.
Yeah.
Dude, look at this shit. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Freedom
Index
chart.
Is that kind of like the doomsday clock, where they just kind of move it?
Yeah,
And
same thing.
it's been like 3 minutes
There
to
we
midnight
go.
for a while, huh?
Abkhazia.
I never even heard of that place.
Partly free.
Afghanistan.
Can't
is
it be,
rated as
you know,
not
like
free.
fucking Afghanistan? Not free at
Afghanistan
all.
rated as not free, but that's weird because we delivered freedom there like 20 years ago.
They must not have received it yet.
Well, it's a slow burning fire. So.
Antigua and Barbuda, free. Argentina, free.
Who's most free?
Most free.
Somalia.
Belgium is in 96.
96.
Oh my God.
Who makes this website?
Freedomhouse.org.
Oh, good old Freedom House. You know?
Yeah. I want to see. Hold on. I want to see where the United States is. It's like, oh no, we're the most
Control
free.
F, but I guess you got a phone on you, huh? Oh, they're alphabetical?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't spell, so that doesn't really help me out too much.
83.
83.
Uruguay is more free than
83.
us.
You're super free.
Absolutely. United Arab Emirates, not free at all. Iraq,
Actually, I know UAE is like one of the worst ranked countries for slavery or being against slavery.
being against
If you're a
it.
slaver, it's like highly ranked.
Iran,
highly
Iraq,
recommended.
not free at all.
Not free.
They're not free.
Which is strange again.
Israel's free though.
Yeah.
Only 76 though. They're not up there like the U.S.
Well, just don't make the mistake of being born Arab, and you should be solid. You know.
Palestinian.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't Israel just like release Palestine from their control?
What they do is Israel is a is it politically correct to say Indian giver? Can you say? I mean, we used to. Oh, hey,
Wow.
oh, no. Okay, all right.
I mean,
Say Native American giver. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get canceled.
Canceled.
Dude, on the video, it's just gonna have a black block in the middle, and the whole video is just gonna be
But
like,
who was beep? Yeah, right. I'm gonna be on that list. No, but like what they'll do is they'll make a deal, and then they renege on the deal all the time. They go back on it. So like, yo, we'll give you this land, and they're like, all right, cool, and then settlers just start.
Your land. This
This
land
land
is
is
also
mine.
my land.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it back soon.
Yo.
Don't you worry.
This video just came out of this Palestinian lady. Right, she's
Yeah.
in her, she's an Arab, she's in her burqa and everything like that.
racist.
And she's talking to this Israeli, and she's like, "Yo, you just stole my house." He just brought a bunch of suitcases into her house.
Yeah.
I think it was West Bank or Gaza, I don't know, something like that. And she's like, "You just stole my house," and he goes, "Listen, if I didn't steal your house, somebody else would."
Right.
I saved you.
Literally,
See,
like,
you know, so
I saved you.
really,
That's
you
how it
should
is here, though. Like,
Thank me.
people in real estate, they pretty much can buy the taxes on your house and then claim it, kick you out, and then like sell your house.
Yeah, they
Oops.
they put the lipstick on the
Oops.
pig.
Oops. Sorry.
Well, you have a time to pay it back, but it's like, oops, sorry, took your
Oops.
home.
That's mine now.
My home now.
Is your audio running good?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
I see the little blue thing gets big when I talk.
Big blue
Fucking
thing,
loud
big
for no
blue-
reason.
I don't know.
Alright.
That's science.
All right.
Science,
Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway. All right. Let's start this.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to episode number 6 of the Checked In Podcast. This is Michael, Zach, and special guest Justin here. This episode is sponsored by Popple, your digital business card. Professionals put Popple on their phones and keys to instantly share contact info with everyone they meet. The best part, the other person doesn't need a Popple or an app to receive your information. Buy yours now at www.popple.co. That's www.popl.co and use code CHECKEDIN at checkout to receive a 20% off discount and help the podcast, obviously. So we got a special guest on today, Justin Lucius. Justin, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Hey, so my name's Justin Lucius, as Mike said. I'm a former sergeant with the United States Marine Corps, and I'm an Operation Enduring Freedom veteran. So basically, Operation Enduring Freedom is the name of the Afghanistan conflict. I'm no hero, though. I just basically got paid to eat mozzarella sticks in a foreign country.
Hey, thank you for your service.
Thank you for eating mozzarella sticks.
Thank you for the mozzarella sticks, So every time you pay those taxes, I got that cheesy goodness, right? No, but in all seriousness, though, so after my time in the Marines, basically I was asking myself, what's the purpose of all these military operations being carried out? And in most of these countries that, most people can't even pronounce, and certainly never heard about before 2001, September 11th. So last year I started Vets Veto War, and I'm just one of many activists online, basically seeking to expose the U.S. and her allies for all the war criminals that they are. So if you want to check out any of my writings, you can check out vetsvetowar.wordpress.com. And shout out to any veterans out there. If you're looking to get your writings published, of course, anti-war, no pro-war, we can get you published online. Just contact me through there. So that's who I am, and that's what I do.
We'll also include the website in the description so that you guys have a direct source to go straight to the website.
Fantastic. So, we kick this off, huh?
So what are we going to be talking about, Justin?
What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about the big talking about. We're talking about the war on terror.
Okay.
What I like to call it, as Borat referred to it, is the war of terror by the United States and all our allies, right? It's a classic criminal story. We're going to involve murder. We're going to involve money and sometimes sex.
Okay.
But really, that's only going to be occurring as prison rape in Abu Ghraib. Now, yeah.
That
right.
escalated.
Yeah, that escalated. So it got real serious, real dark. So it is a pretty serious subject. Millions have died because of the war on terror. But I think we can, keep it a little bit lighthearted and learn some stuff and have a good time.
I think we should slowly segue,
Yeah.
Slowly segue.
Maybe not hit the hard topics right away.
Yeah, not hit the PNAC or the Council on Foreign Relations or anything too serious.
Or we just jump right in.
We'll jump right in.
Let's do it.
I think September 11th, 2001 is a good day to jump in, right?
I think we're all familiar with that.
Bad day, maybe. I actually was just watching the news coverage of that day.
Yeah.
It's kind of eerie, you're watching the commercials beforehand, and they're like, get your car insurance through whatever, and then they're like, oh, shoot, planes are flying in the buildings. And then once the second one hit, that's when people are like, all right, something strange is going on here.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
The first one, the lady's like, all right, this is an accident. Second one, everybody thinks it's pretty serious. But what's interesting is, you guys heard of Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel?
Oh, yeah.
He actually wrote a book in 1995. So I know you guys like conspiracy theories, so get a little bit conspiratorial here, and then immediately debunk it, of course. So basically, he's doing some interviews, and he's suggesting militant Islam is underestimated by the Western powers, like the United States. But in his book, he's like, maybe one day in 1995, 6 years before, militant Islam could bring down the World Trade Center.
He said that?
He said that.
Wow.
So,
so how are you gonna debunk that?
How are you gonna?
So he claimed that they had the power to take down the World Trade.
He was just like, I'm just kind of stabbing out here in the dark.
Like financially or?
No, he said like
physically
buildings down.
Oh.
But
whoops.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he gave away the game there, right there. But some people might argue that the World Trade Center was bombed in the early 90s anyway by Islamic terrorists. So they'll say, okay, well, maybe that's what he was talking about, and they might try again. But regardless, that crisis was certainly not allowed to go to waste. But interestingly enough, what you'll see is most of the countries that we've intervened in, with the exception of Afghanistan, somewhat Afghanistan, but Iraq, Syria, Libya, they're all enemies of the country of Israel. Just pure coincidence, of course. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
of course. Pure.
I sense some sarcasm.
Hey, pure coincidence. It's all
I mean,
It's all
isn't that like that's like the Holy Land, though, right? Don't they all claim Israel as like their Holy Land, like religiously?
It's definitely got some religious significance to Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The big three Abrahamic faiths.
Yeah.
But Judaism, Jews are really the only ones that say, this is our land.
Mm-hmm.
But Jews, Christians, which come in Arab types as well, and Muslims all live there in the Palestine zone for, thousands of years together and had no problems before Israel really defined itself.
Yeah,
so.
I've had family that's gone there before, and they just refer to each other as each other's brother.
Okay.
Because they all, I would say hypothetically believe in the same God, but they believe in God in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, the God of Abraham.
Yeah, but they're all saying that, they're all brothers because they're all followers of the same, God or whatever. So, yeah, like I've had like a couple family members have gone there on like, just like a church trip or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's pretty much like, they're all understanding that, they can coexist pretty much in the same spot, but
Because they have the same type of
yeah, like
belief
they're all like
system?
we're all like, they're all like in it, I guess, for the same end goal, but their like path there is different religiously. But they're all like, like I said, they refer to each other as brothers of the same, God. So
Yeah, most of the world wants to go along to get along. I'd be curious to know if they went into any of the quote-unquote Palestinian areas, West Bank or Gaza Strip. But usually, tourists stay away from those areas because those places are like, giant walls and checkpoints.
yeah,
Like, why do you Israel's security? Like, what do you want to go into Palestine for?
oh yeah.
They ask you a lot of questions. From what I've seen, I've never been there myself, but I've watched people trying to enter into Palestine, and they're like, "Why are you filming? What are you doing this?"
very secured.
Yeah, they're like, "Why?"
They don't want any outside no outsiders in.
They don't want anybody
thing.
to know what the game is over there. But shoot, sidebar, I could talk about Israel all day. Hey, so 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of planes slam into the Trade Center, the Pentagon, and then one crashes in Pennsylvania.
I didn't even know about the Pennsylvania one.
The Pennsylvania one?
Yeah, I didn't even.
Yeah, they said it was supposed to. They say, I don't know. I'll just go with it, right?
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into the controlled demo stuff, but I saw what I saw. You saw what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
But they say that plane was headed for the White House.
Oh.
Which is interesting because, like, I was watching those newscasts, and like within an hour, they're like, "Oh yeah, well we didn't prevent it, but we also knew that it was Bin Laden." Like, an hour later, and I'm like, "What? Come on!"
After an hour, they knew.
Yeah, it was like an hour or two into the cast.
Yeah, but they didn't. They knew who it was, but they didn't prevent it. Why?
Sure. Well, they were actually targeted by the Bill Clinton administration. Most of the hijackers. Muhammad Atta was known as like the quote unquote leader. And then also keep in mind when we're talking about these countries that we have invaded or delivered freedom to. None of them are Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or where any of Saudi Arabia. Most of the hijackers are from Saudi Arabia, a few from Pakistan. But it's strange that we never, delivered freedom or liberation to Saudi Arabia or Pakistan. Really, just odd, just strange.
Just delivering freedom like Amazon delivers packages.
Bam.
Freedom Prime. Next
Freedom
day shipping.
Prime. $12 a month for freedom.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, yeah. Within like 2 weeks after the attacks, you see CIA. It's letters. I can't even read it. CIA operatives are arriving in Afghanistan. Of course, we learned this later. And then the main invasion force ended up there in early October, I believe by like the 10th of October.
Okay.
So here we are. We're still there about 20 years later, of course, right? So this is kind of segue. So obviously, I'm sure you guys know somebody who's been touched by this, if not yourselves. America's in an opioid epidemic.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's in our music, too. Like, rock music, rap music, even some country music. Like, it's always about, like, some form of pills or, like, coke or, crack or whatever. But mostly in like, pills, like, Molly's and Percocets and all, obviously Future had that very viral song.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
was smart, though, you know what I mean? Like,
What
make
was
a
it?
song about Molly Percocets.
Oh, shoot.
Molly
I don't get out
Percocets.
much,
Molly Percocets. He literally says it like
Yeah.
8 times in the song. Yeah.
He
Perc.
preaches
Yeah.
the Percocet.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Those lyrics are deep, though.
Are they?
I mean,
Hey.
yeah, they're deep to a fiend. Like, if I was a fiend, I'd be like, I feel this song.
Are they
But yeah,
opiates?
Absolutely, though, because a buddy of mine, actually, he struggled with heroin addiction for quite some time.
Terrible.
And I unknowingly went with him to get heroin one time.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
was hanging out with him, and I thought that we were just driving, because he said we were just driving. We end up going downtown to a shady part of the city, and mind you, my friend, very straight edge, like he was damn near valedictorian of our class, like very smart kid. And he belongs nowhere near the inner city. Nowhere near it. He doesn't flow. He doesn't go with that at all.
Yeah.
And
Mind you, audience, we went to school like in the country.
in the
country,
sticks.
Yeah.
And
There's like cow farms and horse farms and corn farms all around our
exactly.
school
So he shouldn't have been in the inner city is what we're saying.
Yeah.
And how easy it was for him to just go down into the city
Yeah.
and literally pull up to a corner and say, I want heroin. And 5 guys, all competing for the business, had heroin on them.
Yeah.
5 guys fries. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
but
delivering burgers and heroin.
They all
Heroin burger.
each corner had had heroin. Literally was just like
Yeah.
you pull up and there were like 2 or 3 guys sitting in one corner, 2 or 3 guys in the other corner, and they all come to your car. Oh, you want heroin? I got it.
Yeah.
And then the one guy who's the most like aggressive one pushes everyone off
Yeah.
and sells it to you. It was that easy. $10 too, cheap
You
as
gotta
hell.
be an alpha male to get your $10 heroin sold.
100%. But it was so easy to get, and that just goes to show how the crisis that it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to prevent it, and now that he's off of heroin, he's now using what's it called?
Morphine?
Oxycodone.
Oh, yeah, oxys.
Is that what it's called?
They have oxys. They have methadone to
Methadone.
wean off it,
yeah.
or
Yes.
what is it called?
Isn't it morphine too?
Suboxone.
Suboxone.
No. Yes, that's what it is. He's on Suboxone
Suboxone
now.
is actually an opiate blocker. It blocks your. So if you try to use heroin while you're on Suboxone, you won't get high because you're. I don't know the exact science, right? But it blocks that part of the brain, the nervous system, that receives the opioids.
But I feel like
Opiates. I can't
it's
speak to that,
almost
jeez.
just as addictive, because the way that he is on whatever it is that they gave him when he came out of rehab,
Yeah.
whatever they gave him, he fiends it the same way he did when he was fiending heroin. Same exact way. Oh, I need to go home to take this. Oh, I need to go take this. I need to have this on me. I can't miss it. So it's the same addictive properties. It's the same feeling from what he says.
Yeah.
It's just government regulated, so it's okay.
Now your drug dealer wears a white lab coat.
Yeah.
And his cartel, whatever associate, is wearing a suit and a tie and driving a Rolls Royce or something like that, right?
Yeah, so
Still rolling the same.
How did we get to that point?
Well, shoot. I'm glad you asked, Zach. You know where 90% of the world's supply of opium comes from,
I
right?
do know that in China and Middle East is a prime it's a prime location for
the hot
supply.
zone.
Yeah,
China,
and we
yeah.
we came from I guess the Himalaya region originally. I mean, there's conspiracies that weed was all over the world, and there's different strands in different countries. Like it's a flower, so that makes sense. So is opium or whatever.
Yeah,
But
poppy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so fentanyl comes from the China. 90% of the world's supply of opium comes from Afghanistan.
Oh.
So most of it goes to Mexico and then into the U.S., gets cut with fentanyl. Fentanyl, I think, is more of a recent development. I mean, it's been around for a while, medicinal, so quote unquote, right?
Yeah, air quotes.
You know what's even crazier is the price of opium skyrocketed in 2000. So we're pre 9/11.
Okay.
And that would be Mullah Omar issued a fatwa. So a fatwa is like a decree, an Islamic decree.
Okay.
And he was the leader of the Taliban that ran Afghanistan. And he said opium use was against the core principles of Islam in the year 2000.
Wow.
So the price is skyrocketing because it's become rare around the world, so it's hard to get it. But the U.S. accused the Taliban of harboring al-Qaeda, more or less true, somewhat true, right? The supposed architects of the 9/11 attacks, again, I don't want to get too far off into the weeds or the opium plants.
Yeah.
But so we invaded Afghanistan, and I witnessed this firsthand. We adopted a half-hearted approach to the cultivation of poppy plant, which is the precursor. It's actually a really pretty plant. I've walked through fields of it.
Wow.
So yeah, so we go up to these Afghan farmers, and this is the policy, and we're like, hey, we'll offer you a subsidy. So basically, any loss that you take, we'll make up the loss with U.S. cash, with the government cheese, if you switch to wheat. But the Afghan farmers were like, well, I'll make the same amount of money selling opium, and I won't get my head cut off by the Taliban. So I think I'm going to sell opium. We'll think about it. We'll think about your offer.
That's a good decision, though.
I knew that, like, there's no way, like, the war on drugs in general, I knew for a fact. Obviously, like, the U.S. doesn't, like, really stop it, because if they wanted to, they have the power to stop. Like,
yeah.
They have the power to just completely cut off everything and get really strict with the imports.
But why would they?
Yeah, but I knew that it was like a government, like everybody, like, I mean, obviously, like, pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. But, like, dude, everybody, like, every world power is a drug dealer. Like the president is probably the biggest drug dealer in the world, and then, like, you go down the chain, and it's like the biggest drug dealer in the street is, like, not in the street, but you know what I mean. Like, the biggest supplier for the streets is, like, somewhere off in, like, some other, like, country. They're going state to state doing whatever, and then, like, the president's like, ha ha ha, I have more drugs than you, but I'm gonna stop you, take your drugs, and then figure out who you're getting it from, and then I'm gonna get them from them, and then we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like,
and we all know from the crack epidemic that the CIA is not above selling drugs. In fact, death dealing really is a. It's kind of sad that we live in a world that you can make so much money off bloodshed and death. But yeah, basically our approach in Afghanistan was, grow it, don't grow it, whatever. We're not stopping you, but we're not helping you, but we're not stopping you. So right around this time of this we make the price drop essentially, because now opium poppy is not illegal, but it's not legal. You know what I mean? So the availability is going to skyrocket, right? So what that means is, supply and demand, the price is going to drop. But right around that time, I believe it was 2000 or 2001, Congress passes the Medicare Modernization Act. So, Medicare Part D would pay for your drugs, stuff like that. So obviously it's going to pay for, painkillers and stuff like that.
Right.
And Congress gave up its ability to issue any sort of price controls. So what you used to have is you'd have a Medicare schedule. So a Medicare schedule says we will pay, generally it's like 80% of the market price of something. We won't pay anything more. So Congress gave up its ability to issue price controls on the pharmaceutical industry, which is one of the top lobbying areas.
Yeah.
Is drugs, and then of course defense, and then other foreign countries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the Sackler family, this is a particular heinous group of people, gets involved in the opiate business. So they run Purdue Pharma, which I just wrote about, and Purdue Pharma just basically almost got sued to the point. Well, they got sued to the point of bankruptcy, but they're coming out of bankruptcy. So what they did was they give up the ability to issue these price controls. The flow of opiates is increased. So in theory, the price should be low.
Right.
But really, these prices are artificially bumped up because Congress has no ability to control these prices. Now, this is actually one thing I did like about the Affordable Care Act is that the Affordable Care Act counteracted this this part of the Medicare Modernization Act, and they get their power back. But by that time, the damage was done. So the Sackler family starts Purdue Pharma, and they start a campaign telling people something that was against common knowledge, that opiates are, specifically oxycodone, is non-habit forming. So this
is that
new.
so?
Yes, yeah, opiates are not.
Yeah,
they're not addictive.
They're not addictive.
Yeah.
Even though it was like banned in China because they couldn't, they weren't producing enough goods in their industrial revolution, so they didn't totally just stop people from they're like, hey, yeah, don't smoke opium anymore. I mean, they didn't say that.
But yeah, so if you you can check a bunch of stats, and I have them linked in the article I wrote about Purdue Pharma getting sued into oblivion, which actually needs to be updated because they were about to declare bankruptcy, and they did, but now they have a plan to get out. But a vast majority of heroin addicts report that their first interaction ever with opiates was prescription drugs. One of the most common ones would be oxycodone. So this war in Afghanistan delivers nearly estimates. This is estimates. $13 billion of wealth to the Sacklers.
Really?
So yeah. So I don't know if you know anything, right? We were talking earlier about the Dogecoin, right? But when you have money in your hand, that money, you can invest it and it can make more money. So they take this $13 billion and they have to pay out a settlement plan of approximately $10 billion. But this $10 billion doesn't have to be paid immediately. It's paid over time, right? So let's get even more disgusted with this. A good chunk of this money, right, was prescriptions backed by the government funding via Medicare. So you guys are paying to kill your fellow citizens, essentially, and you don't know it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Just another day in the U.S., right? But wait, there's more. There's more. This company is exiting bankruptcy, and they're in the process. And they moved into drug treatment programs that, yes, they make money from. So you can get your drug treatment programs paid for through health insurance and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the equivalent of me setting fire to this place, and then I open a fire extinguisher stand outside, and then I sell you the lumber and everything to rebuild, and then I say, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You solved my
Thank
problem.
you for setting my home on fire and giving me everything back to do it.
So these Sackler creatures have all this time to take this money that they can pay out over several years and invest their money, multiply it, and everything like that. And this is even in the face of testimony that they knew, even on recordings, they knew they were lying about the addictive nature of oxycodone. But, at least the doctor's office got their free pens.
Why isn't this questioned by anybody? So why is it so, it's known to be addictive? Mm-hmm. I mean, anyone with half a brain or anyone who knows anybody who's going through this knows that it's just as addictive. Mm-hmm. So why is nobody opening their mouth to how it's basically just transitioning someone from an illegal drug to a legal version of the same drug?
Well, when you get that kind of money, you get that kind of power. Well, actually, scratch that. When your doctor tells you something, you're gonna believe them, Right. Because I'm sure a lot of people, I ask, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so if I'm about to be issued a prescription, I go, that's not, an opiate or anything like that or anything habit forming. I ask, and they say no, and I trust them. Luckily, I haven't had any experience of, anything like that where I've been issued an opiate or anything like that. But
Are there scenarios where you've asked that question and they've
said yes?
Yeah, they've lied to you?
No, I don't think so. Thank God. But I know, I have family members that also have to ask that question. Or they go to prescribe you something automatically. Like if I ever have surgery, God forbid, there's no way I could touch an opiate because I'd fall right back into, where I was several years ago.
Well, and I think that's why they have made a lot of things accessible through your doctor, is because once you're done, if you are that, if you are that hooked on it, once you're done, you're going to look for it in the street. And who's ultimately profiting off of in the street. Either some country, obviously, through the chain of, I guess, transaction, immediately the drug dealer, but like, and at the end of the day, like, that's why they're pumping this stuff into America. Is
if you think about it,
off of it themselves too.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, say there's a heroin dealer, right? The heroin dealer gets it from someone. They get it from someone else. They get it from someone else. It ends up coming from the
same source.
The supplier, whoever that is, and then that's very well the government.
Yeah.
Now, without getting too conspiratorial and saying maybe some of those dealers are CIA, which I'm sure they are, or some
DEA, CIA.
Could be.
Isn't that why they made the DEA, just so they can like get drugs
sell
back
drugs?
and
It could be. Well, let's just say it's not.
Yeah.
It's well known that the Taliban and Al Qaeda use these drug sales to fund the war.
Mm-hmm.
This drug money, when you go to buy your $10 bag of heroin, some of that money is getting funneled back into the Afghanistan conflict, and maybe spread out into, to fund Al-Nusra Front in Syria, ISIS in Iraq, or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. So basically, this money is just getting circulated. It fuels the war. We need an enemy to fight the war. We can't just go there and stand around, although a lot of us are standing around Afghanistan just
eating mozzarella sticks.
Eating mozzarella sticks, exactly. And you know what? You're welcome for my service. No, but it keeps that going. The defense contractors are making money hand over fist, and it's pretty obvious that the whole game here, at a bare minimum, was profit, specifically with Afghanistan. And then it gets even more complex if you want to, talk about China's Belton Road initiative that's plugging straight through Afghanistan.
What's that?
But so the Belton Road initiative is basically, a new Silk Road.
Okay.
China is essentially connecting a lot of these countries, for resources and stuff like that. And the countries are like, all right, well, we like that you're building out roads and infrastructure and stuff like that. And they're also they're getting into the legal loan sharking business, if you will, usury. So they're issuing out these loans to these third world countries and saying, we'll build the road, or we'll give you money to build the road. All you need to do is, post up some property as collateral or pay an exorbitant interest rate. So either way, we win.
Right, exactly.
So like low-key, China's like the bitch of the world, low-key? Like
no, not at all. Everyone else, the other way around.
World.
I mean, I guess I'm just saying because like everything's manufactured there, primarily.
They run this shit, bro.
Well, it makes sense because like, I think like historically they're like they were always like some huge empire was always there, some huge dynasty was always there.
100%, yeah.
And then they kind of, I guess they are the boss because like they opened up, like they were like extremely like what's the word, isolated for a long time, and then they kind of like opened up to things like when everybody was like, yeah, why don't we just come here,
right?
And then like, why don't we just put a few factories here, put a few trade areas here, and then they're like low key like, yeah, we're kind of taking over China, we're like, we own property in China, that's dope, and then they're like, nah, bruh,
not at all.
Nah, bruh, not at all. We run whatever you run here.
That's kind of why I think that, China and the U.S. will never... People are always like, especially you watch... I'm going to anger conservatives. I'm going to anger liberals here today. China is our enemy on the news, but really, we clean out one section of Afghanistan, and then they decided that the Uyghurs in the Afghan-China border are terrorists and move them out of the way for their Belt and Road initiative through there. So really, the China and U.S. work hand in glove with taking advantage of the world, and that seems to be the whole game here, right?
Yeah, I guess the whole idea with that too is like, they always like, there's always people saying like, oh, there's like 5 billion Chinese people, their military has to be bigger, but like honestly, I was doing some research the other day and like I didn't see anything about China having a huge military. I've actually seen that their military is not actually as big as people think, just based on the ratio to
population
capita,
versus the actual people in the military. Their military is not that big compared to like U.S. And they have way more.
The U.S. puts so much money into their military.
Oh yeah.
Just for them to go overseas, and be sitting on their ass
and just
eating
sit on their ass, but
sticks?
they're also,
mozzarella
like,
sticks.
they're also like
Yeah.
gangbanging too. They're like, oh,
I mean,
and the
that's
drug ass
yeah.
thing, I mean, like in
that's
that way, that's what it seems
yeah.
like now.
I mean, you're
like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm myself and my buddies act as security forces for a bunch of drug dealers that drive around in Maseratis and live in the lap of luxury. Like the Sacklers, or the Cheney family or anything like that. But shoot, enough about Afghanistan. I was gonna talk about Iran, but I said enough about Iran. How about Iraq? Right?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? So, the good news is this podcast will be over shortly. You won't have to hear these jokes anymore, and I'll ask myself to leave. Shoot, Iraq, right?
Yeah.
So we got Afghanistan raging, right? Bush is president, and he's got he's disguised what I call neoconservatism, which in a nutshell is disguising interventionism with nationalism and patriotism. They're kind of morphing the two together, and it worked. It worked for a few years. So with his support still high, Bush and his team of flunkies decided to see how far they could push this war of terror, right? So you see in 2002, well, really earlier, but really they start to get ramped up. The lies begin about Iraq and Saddam Hussein. So it's been known by the U.S. for years that Iraq has had chemical weapons at one point or another. Mm-hmm. In fact, I believe it's in the late 70s, early 80s, somewhere around there. During the Iran-Iraq War, the Reagan administration supported Saddam in his battle against Iran, despite his clear use of mustard and nerve gas against Iranian troops. Mm. Now, I don't want to mince words here or anything like that, or make it seem like I'm a Saddam, Saddam toady or anything like that. He was definitely a brutal dictator, but you got to respect. At least he was not deceitful about it. Bush and Obama and Trump all made it like we're men of peace and everything. We're executing just violence, but Saddam is just like, hey, go ahead and say something bad, and you bet that they'll find you inside a suitcase tomorrow, inside a garbage can or something like that.
At least he was honest about it.
He was honest about it, right? So he executed, tortured people, sure, but the U.S. has. In fact, well, here comes the anger in the liberals, right? So we all remember January 6th, the Capitol siege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, it was a bunch of boomers who got led into the Capitol building, took a few selfies and a few souvenirs. It really wasn't nearly
like the president's podium.
Yeah, I mean, you see some dude kicking his feet up dressed up like a Viking, kicking his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, and you're like, this is the most disgusting thing to ever happen since Pearl Harbor or 9/11. Oh man.
Do you think that it was overplayed by the media?
It was definitely overplayed. In addition, now this is kind of skipping ahead a bit, but the Trump administration was the Department of Defense received a request from the Washington D.C. mayor, who clearly wasn't let into the loop. She's like, yo, there's very little distinction made between actual Nazis and people who like to wear red hats and are like, Trump is the savior. So she's like, there are literally a bunch of Nazis about to come into Washington, D.C. on the day they certify the election. I need troops, which is fair. Lately, anytime there's any sort of political protest or something like that, people are getting beat up. There's fires getting started.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's a reasonable request, in my opinion. But what the Department of Defense did was they said, listen, we're not declining your request for troops. We're kind of leaving you on red. Okay. So we're not declining you. But basically, long story short, a bunch of people came into the Capitol building, took a few selfies. But how I relate that to Saddam is they acted like Saddam is such an evil person. And all these dictators, Assad in Syria, are such evil people. What they don't tell you is that they're putting these boomers into 23-hour-a-day solitary confinement. A few of them have committed suicide because they've been doxxed, their personal information is released. And in one nasty case, this guy got beaten so badly by prison guards that he lost vision in one eye. So he's blinded.
This is American.
This is American.
Blood being spilled. That's crazy. I mean, granted, it kind of was seen as an act of treason.
You broke the law 100%.
But still, it's American bloodshed. That's still not.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're gonna give them the needle, give them the needle, but don't torture them.
Right. Find a way.
Yeah.
Are they criminals? Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. Last time I saw somebody get beaten and lose an eye because he was trespassing, I haven't seen that in quite a while. But land of the free, home of the brave. Shoot, don't even get me into
brave.
Yeah. Don't even get me into Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay. Or the treatment of Julian Assange. We could talk about him later. But so what a lot of people don't tell you about Saddam is that he's a Ba'athist Party member. So Baathism, I would say, is most closely related to the National Socialism of Germany. Its principles on race, though, are a little bit more lax. Basically, they spread an idea of pan-Arabism in a united front for all Arabs, Saudis, Iraqis, whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what they don't tell you about Saddam is he nationalized the Iraqi oil company and increased its production greatly.
Really?
I knew it had something to do with oil.
Of course, yes.
That's been something that we've been talking about in school, when I was in school, and is this really about oil? Nah, it's about drugs and oil.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, and also you got to sell these bullets. These have a timetable. These bullets need to be shot.
They can't be sitting.
Yeah. I mean,
the gunpowder is gonna expire.
And then some weirdo on the board at the Council for Relations is like, "What if we just throw them away?" What?
Get them out of here!
Get out of here, dude! You're out of touch, man. People need to be shot and deliver democracy. But shoot, so Saddam nationalized the Iraqi oil company, right? So basically, what that means is the money went back to the government and then through it, the people. So obviously he enriched himself. He bought himself some nice new things. But a lot of this money went to sponsor literacy programs. So a lot of the people in Iraq, were essentially living out in the middle of nowhere and couldn't even read. So they got free secondary and higher education. So that means, yes, if you were an Iraqi citizen under Saddam, you had free college.
I mean...
Bernie Sanders.
Compared to what we've been hearing, because we've been hearing
Saddam's a liberal, right?
Yeah,
basically.
That doesn't sound terrible.
No, did he kill a lot of people? Yeah, but at least there was no.
They were educated.
Listen, you actually live in as he's stabbing you, he's like, "Listen, man, this is how you become free. This is how we make."
Sounds
you
like
free.
the American way.
Yeah, so he uses this money to expand the electrical grid. So a lot of Iraq never had power up until Saddam. Sponsors a single payer healthcare system. So in a nutshell, if you lived in Iraq under Saddam, you had free college, you had free healthcare, and more people became literate. Now, after sanctions and economic warfare against Iraq throughout the years, the situation certainly deteriorated. And then, of course, right after we moved in, we take the Iraqi oil company and it gets broken up. Those profits are not going to the Iraqi people. The Iraqi oil company was broken up into parts and is now owned by ExxonMobil, British Petroleum, and a few others too. The Abu Dhabi company.
Wow.
Yeah. United Arab Emirates, of course, is where Abu Dhabi is. A giant sponsor of terrorism. Of course, I don't hear us ringing bells to go invade the United Arab Emirates. No, of course not. We need to invade Iraq, who they said was attached to Al Qaeda.
So basically, their money went into soccer, travel, and NASCAR.
Oh yeah. So those are the things that the Iraqis care about: is soccer, travel, and NASCAR.
Yeah,
that's what they said. I don't need college. I don't need healthcare. Just for God's sake, would you make sure the soccer team's all right? Please. My children are starving. But
that's important.
Make sure, this is what, a million Iraqis died for is soccer.
Soccer and NASCAR.
And I can respect that.
As you should.
So, all in all, minus the sanctions, I would rather live in Saddam's Iraq than Biden's America, 100%.
I mean, without the extreme violence,
Brutality,
yeah. Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, we got the
Is
largest...
that why they just like completely put a cap on Bernie Sanders' campaign? Because isn't that essentially what his main two things was like, universal healthcare and free college for people?
Did they, by they you mean the system?
Yeah.
Yes, in my opinion, some people might not like this. I think the guy was a professional loser. So like,
wow. It's a hard decision.
Yeah, I've had an MMA fight before, and what they tell you in MMA is there's two fighters, and there's a dude who's brought in to win, and there's another guy.
Oh.
And I remember my fight, I was like, oh, geez, a lot of these people here don't like me. And I'm like, I clearly was not brought in to win.
Okay.
But yeah, so I feel like Bernie Sanders, the guy was a professional loser. He'd lose. He'd go, man, Hillary disgusts me. Biden disgusts me. And then he, withdraws from the race. And the next thing you know, he's like, listen, we need to vote for Hillary. We need to vote for Biden. And I'm like, dude, he's nothing like Ron Paul. I remember Ron Paul ran in the, I think it was a 2000 or 2004 election. He got voted out and they're interviewing him. And they're like, Ron Paul, will you support Bush for the nomination? And he like looks up and around. He's like, no, no, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I don't see Bernie as a man of principle. Did I like his policies on healthcare and school? For sure. Yeah, I can appreciate that. But I don't think he was serious. I think he was...
Didn't he have, though, the majority of younger voters in his corner?
He did, yeah. He had a huge amount of support. But the Democrat Party, more so than the Republican Party, has a system of superdelegates. And the superdelegates in the Democrat Party are allowed to vote against what the people actually vote for. So what they do is, like in the Republican Party primaries, and I haven't checked into this in a while, so don't quote me on this, but at least in the time of the first time he ran against Hillary, the superdelegates, they would hold the primary elections, and the people in a state would vote for Bernie, right?
Right.
And then the superdelegates will go, well, actually what you guys meant was you meant to vote for Hillary.
Oh, you made a mistake, that's all.
You guys made a mistake.
Electoral college.
Listen, the people have spoken, and they've spoken incorrectly, actually. So these superdelegates
We're here to fix that.
Yeah, the superdelegates were in bed with the Hillary campaign. Of course, so would I, if they're like, hey, are you thinking about committing suicide tomorrow? No, I guess I was. No, no, I'm 100% Team Hillary. Yes, please don't hurt me.
Please don't.
But, shoot, yeah. The war drums are pounding again. It's 2002, right?
Yeah.
Bush's team of neoconservative think tanks, Council on Foreign Relations, which is still inactive today, the Project for a New American Century, are raging, right? And if you ever look into people in the government, especially in the executive branch, you'll see an overwhelming amount of presidents in recent history are members of the Council on Foreign Relations and everything like that. So what they're saying is Saddam has nuclear weapons precursors, chemical weapons left over from the Gulf War, even though they have a shelf life of like 2 to 5 years. So they're saying, yeah, he has these chemical weapons from 1991. It's 2002. They only have like a shelf life of 2 to 5 years.
So they're expired.
They're expired for sure.
Oh.
And they said he supported Al Qaeda, even though he runs a secular government, right?
Right.
He did, for popular support, he would occasionally put on his like traditional Muslim garb and be like, yo, hello, my fellow Muslims. But really, he was more secular and non-religious for sure. Al Qaeda condemned that and was, they're like, we need an Islamic caliphate. We don't need any secular governments or anything like that.
Right.
All sorts of lies come out attacking his honor. I'm not saying he's honorable, but they said, Saddam's willing to abdicate for $1 billion in cash. And then he gets an interview with Dan Rather shortly before the invasion. And they're like, hey, will you abdicate, if in the face of certain death? Dan Rather pretty much indirectly threatened him. He was like, are you going to get out of here? This is, we're coming, man. We're coming.
Really?
Wow.
The news are in the media's in bed with the military-industrial complex for sure. But Saddam said, I was born in Iraq. I'm going to die here. So
He did.
yeah, so this pretty much is just proven that the Bush administration is just a bunch of sickos. What really cinches the deal that proved to me that there was hard line set on invading was Saddam said, why don't we do a televised debate via satellite? Which is pretty smart, actually. I think that they would have accepted the debate if Saddam was dumb enough to leave the country to meet up with them. Because then it would be like, oh, shoot, his car exploded.
Was that put on the table at all?
So, yeah, Saddam was like, hey, I'll challenge you to President Bush to a debate on live television via satellite. I'll stay in Iraq, of course, which is smart because the Trump administration actually used a tactic of luring Qasem Soleimani of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They're like, hey, come meet us in Iraq. And he's driving to Iraq, and they hit him with an airstrike.
Whoops.
Dirty, right?
Yikes.
But, yeah, Saddam was smart. He said, I ain't leaving this country. You can meet me, talk to me over satellite. And they declined the debate. So it pretty much, just proves that they weren't serious. So, we're getting into late 2002, and, that's when the invasion is just about to happen into Iraq.
Wow.
Yeah. Bananas, right?
Big bananas.
Big
so
bananas.
My thing is, why does the Democratic Party always kind of remove troops, and then like the Republican Party kind of like places more troops?
Places more troops?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say in the past 20 years, they're not really. It's inconsistent,
Yeah.
I mean, Trump actually removed. I'm no fan of Trump, and I can explain why. Trump actually removed more troops than anyone. Obama removed them and then brought them back.
Yeah.
And then Trump kind of withdrew
Under what
them.
reasoning?
So they say, hey, conflict's winding down. But what they do, all these presidents do, that all do the same thing, is they're like, listen, we're going to move out of this country unless, I don't know, I'm just kind of speaking out loud, thinking out loud here, unless, I don't know, say there's a chemical weapons attack. And then all of a sudden in the news, you're like, chemical weapons attack. And you're like, what are the chances?
Well, we're going back.
What are the freaking chances? No, but what Trump's game was, even though he withdrew a lot of troops, is signing peace treaties between Arab countries and Israel, and basically forming an alliance. Now, this is a Republican talking point that you'll hear a lot, is they'll say, well, Trump brought peace to the Middle East. Look at how many treaties he signed. But it's weird. They're all with Qatar, financier of terrorism. They're with the United Arab Emirates, financiers of terrorism with Israel. So what the powers that be are starting to realize is that the last two countries standing in their plan to reshape the map of the Middle East are Iran and Syria, also Lebanon, but Lebanon hasn't really been talked about recently. But Iran and Syria are clearly not going down without a really good fight. So what they're doing is they're trying to build up this alliance of Gulf states, Israel, and the U.S. to say, listen, you can try to fight us, and it's going to be a bloody conflict, but we are bravely willing to sacrifice our own people to defeat you. So they're trying to get it to the point where Iran and Syria have no choice but to back down. But I think they realize that, it's better to die free than to live in slavery. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's just like the first 3 years. No, the first 2 years of the war.
2 years?
The war of terror, and we've barely scratched the surface here.
Wow.
Of all the lies. And we didn't get into any of the prison rape yet, so.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh, it gets deeper.
It gets deeper.
No pun intended.
Well, that will be for another episode. I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Comment especially for this one, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you know. We do have every episode on now Spotify and Tidal and Apple Music as well. So don't forget to tune into those if you're driving and you can't watch our beautiful mugs. But yeah, don't forget to also check out Justin's link to his website in the bio, and you've officially been checked in.